Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Chaotic Pubcast. This has been an insane week, and we are going to go on a roller coaster of an episode this week. I'm here with Z and Jay.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
What up?
Had
Howdy-ho.
And this episode is going to be crazy. It's going to be total madness. And if you think that madness is secluded to just our universe, you'd be sadly mistaken. It's an entire multiverse of it.
Oh my God. Ryan, are you saying that we're doing a Marvel episode?
I think I might be Z.
actually.
Oh my God, what is happening?
So when you said madness,
the longly awaited and much speculated about Marvel episode is finally here. So, anyways, what do you guys think about the Batman?
A little long.
I had to wait for it to release on HBO Max to finally see it. So.
I've seen it twice though.
So, Jay, I think you got some news for us. What's going on?
I do. So last night I was on Amazon and I bought a Ryan Reynolds cutout.
No, you son of a bitch! God damn it!
No, I actually have news. My glasses broke. Okay, so
To fill it,
that's not a lie. It's not a lie. I did do that.
To fill in context, I told Jay if his news is that he bought a fucking Ryan Reynolds cardboard cutout, I'm gonna lose my shit. But anyway,
And just for clarity, he is 100% telling the truth.
Oh yeah, and I actually did buy that cutout, and it will be on the next episode probably. Actually, I don't know if it's gonna be here by then.
my Ahsoka Tano cardboard cutout will be right here.
Oh, and and by the way, it is Ryan's fault. He bought that Ahsoka Tano one. I was looking for a Deadpool one, but I couldn't find one. Next best thing was, the man himself. So, anywho, so I don't know if you guys heard or if you guys knew, but John Watts, guy that directed the Spider-Man MCU movies, was set to direct the Fantastic Four movie. However, he stepped down.
He bounced, right?
He stepped out. Yeah, he said he wanted to take a break. So they say, and this is going to get ahead of ourselves. We might actually cover this a little bit later, but I don't even know if I want to say it anymore. Let's just wait.
I'll say it.
I'll
say it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say it.
John Krasinski wants that director role along with being Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. By the way, major spoilers.
Alert.
If it's not already known, we are going to spoil the shit out of Moon Knight and Multiverse of Madness. By the way, in this episode, just so you guys know.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched Multiverse of Madness, if you haven't finished Moon Knight, feel free to pause this video right here or your podcast and come back to it after you watch them because it's going to be a episode full of spoilers.
Do one of two things.
You can say it's full of madness.
Go see them, then come back to this episode, or go listen to another episode. So because we need our numbers.
Yeah, go listen to another episode. Just put it on repeat.
Yeah, we'll spoil something else on that episode, on the other episode. Marvel.
All right. So the next bit of news that I have, this is actually I have like 3 bits of news. I have like 3 bits of news, and they're all like film related. That was the only Marvel one. Justin Lin, who was directing all the Fast movies after Fast 5, Tokyo Drift actually after Foot, he also stepped down in this last Fast movie, Fast 10. Or sorry, Fast X for the millennials out there. He stepped down as a director for that.
Oh shit! Well, that's not good.
So it's kind of crazy that he stepped in like after that the movie had already begun production, and apparently that's just like a big. It takes a toll on them.
He put out like a big heartfelt post about like all the love and stuff over the last
Would you say he
couple decades
had
of making the movies?
Quite a family on that
set? Well, maybe not, because the rumors are that it's because of a specific person that people just do not like working with. I am Groot.
Oh, Vin Diesel. They don't like working with the old Vin, huh?
Apparently not. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's facts or not, but that's
I heard he was a nice guy.
That's what's being tossed around. Last one that I have. Oh no, I have 2 more news. This one's gonna be quick. Workaholics movie coming to Paramount Plus. Like an actual Workaholics movie coming to Paramount Plus.
Gotcha.
Adam Devine announced it on his Twitter. And Netflix recently announced a series of animated shows, including a Jurassic Park one.
Are you just going down your Twitter news feed right now?
No. This is I actually have a document that I write my news in. Jurassic Park 1, a Pokemon Masters continuation, which I've never heard, and this is like the reason I brought this up. This next show that's coming up, a Sonic animated show called Sonic Prime,
That'll be cool.
and it's gonna have none of the original actors from the games. It's gonna have a complete new cast, including, I don't know if you guys have played the Miles Morales video game, Spider-Man game, but the guy that voices Genki, and there's gonna be the one voicing Sonic.
Oh.
That's it for news. I know y'all didn't want to. I didn't care. But
Jesus. I'll tell you, man.
I actually keep up with the world.
Not
The
me.
entertainment world. The entertainment world.
Just the nerdy,
I don't care about the real
nerdy
world.
part of the world.
Yeah. Anywho, that's it.
I think there's like a war going on or something. I don't know.
The what? There's a war? Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's get into. You guys want to say it? The meat and potatoes.
I don't know what's the.
Let's get into the tofu and curry here, guys. Let's
get into the.
So we're gonna start this off. Obviously, as we told you, we're gonna go deep into the Multiverse of Madness. But we're gonna start off on a different foot. Moon Knight just wrapped up this past week, and what a freaking show, man! It was a great show.
It was.
It might be my favorite Disney Plus show, Marvel show yet.
I would I agree. Like, to be honest with you, the first 3 episodes, I was kind of like, okay, this is pretty good. The tail end of the show is kind of what really I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I was I very intentionally missed 2 episodes for a bit there, so I had 2 back-to-back episodes to watch. So I was having a good time.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
must be awesome.
But
yeah, no, I agree with you. I like I said, I think on last week's, I had watched like episode 1 and then just like took a break for a few weeks and then came back and watched. And I think it was because at the beginning of the season, you kind of were like, all right, like I know what's going on. Like it feels like they're trying to play with my head, but I got it figured out, right? Like I kind of know what's up. And then the latter half, you're like, oh, I don't know shit actually. Like I don't have anything in the show figured out.
you don't
like you're still trying to figure out like if he is just crazy and imagining this or what. So
yeah. You don't even see Moon Knight for 2 of those, like the actual Moon Knight avatar for 2 of those episodes.
That's what's like insane about the show. Like the show is about Moon Knight, but you don't see Moon Knight. You see Stephen Grant and
Mark Spector.
Mark Spector.
Yep.
Thank you. You just get to know them, and you know, you don't really get to know Moon Knight. You know the person behind the mask, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and because of that, I think we're probably all in agreement that second to last episode was like the keystone of the whole season, right? Like
that show,
and it was just because it was exploring like his life and how Stephen Grant came to be, and how he developed this what's it called, DID,
dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that's that. I love that about it. Like I said before, like I love anything, and Z said it before, anything mental health related, and I love it when shows take the time to explore this, to show it. I mean, it's not 100% accurate. It's not 100% how DID works, but you know, it brings awareness to a sense about that.
I thought it was very poignant that they wrapped it up on Mother's Day week. Right?
Yeah, right. A show about mama issues wraps up on Mother's Day.
So DID doesn't work like that exactly. You were a psychology major, like you mentioned, right. Jay. Like how off the mark were they? Is my question.
Both of you to assume that I remember what I learned.
Yes, cool. you said it with such confidence that I was like,
I don't know. Short answer is I don't know.
It's okay.
You pull one out of left here with me on that one.
You said it with such confidence that I was like, oh, he knows his shit on this. I was like, let's explore that.
I got a piece of paper that says that I went to school for it. I was more into the okay. So me personally, I didn't take a lot of the classes like that, and the ones I was more focused on was personality aspect of psychology.
Gotcha.
So like I studied, like I learned, I know more of the behavior aspect versus conditions, I guess, mental health conditions, what you could be diagnosed with. I think that's actually a step above my pay grade.
Gotcha.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that,
You're
like I would
you're
have to
in
go
showing.
to.
Can you show me this man's degree?
Coming right up.
Oh man, it's there, clear as day in purple crayon.
So yes, I do have a psychology degree, but I do not know
No, I mean that's a
medical,
big field. That's a
the medical point of it. I don't know that.
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah. It's a very broad degree,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like even if they were off the mark. Obviously, I think it's pretty clear that they were somewhat. I think it was really still a good scope into um, an actual mental disorder that
Mm-hmm.
a man's dealing with. And like this whole show, like he could have been making up Moon Knight and Khonshu
Mm-hmm.
and all this other shit in his head, and it still would have been super entertaining. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that sucks to say, like, oh, it's so entertaining watching this guy deal with the mental disorder. Um,
Well,
but it was. I mean,
that's
it's a good view. It's a good lens in.
well, and to add reformation that I do like stuff with mental health, and we've talked about this before. Iron Man 3. I love, like, a lot of people shat on Iron Man 3. I loved Iron Man 3.
Oh,
I loved Iron Man 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
one of my
I really
favorite ones
liked it.
because he really finally has to. It's less about him being a superhero and more just figuring out who he is and
I don't know.
Yeah, he's dealing with the
dealing
PTSD
with
from.
PTSD and yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool. That shit was cool for me. But like a lot of people who go and see Marvel movies, that's not what they're looking for. Clearly, and
That's kind of my take on Jessica Jones, the TV show. I personally love Jessica Jones.
Mhm.
A lot of people did.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah, not a lot. Not I never. I heard a lot of. I've heard a lot of people say that that Jessica Jones was not. I mean, obviously Iron Fist like ranks
Hmm.
the bottom.
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people tell me that Jessica Jones they didn't like, and I was like, me, I loved it because it was more of a psychological thriller in a sense.
Yeah.
It was more about her dealing with her PTSD from Kilgrave.
Yeah, and I could identify with it because I dealt with like my PTSD from my early 20s the same way she did. Let's get fucking drunk, and
Hey, that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. That's
yeah,
what I do.
God, and yeah, but to circle
And who
back,
doesn't love seeing Kristen Ritter on screen, right?
no, and David Tennant was
Yeah.
one of the best Marvel villains I've ever
David
seen.
Tennant.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
No, he
dude's
was
a good
amazing.
villain. Ah,
that guy could play any role and he would crush it.
And speaking of good villains, Ethan Hawke, man,
oh my God,
was
yes.
phenomenal in Moon Knight. Like, and he kind of had that whole Thanos thing going on, right? Where it was like he was doing something that he really believed in for a good purpose in his
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
So he was like one of those relatable villains. Now, obviously, I think his was, I mean, just like Thanos, very warped view.
Yeah.
But
Very cynical.
it was, yeah, it was really cool to see, and I think he nailed the role perfect.
He watched Minority Report one too many times and got ripped.
Yeah.
Basically,
That's a great movie. I want to watch that.
movie. We'll put it in the movie thing. The the just to roll back to Moon Knight, and the whole Ethan Hawke thing. I've always thought Ethan Hawke has been one of the most unsung actors. He's kind of up there with like
Mhm.
the Sam Rockwells and
Sam Rockwell.
and John
what
Lithgow,
another
and
amazing
everything.
actor.
Yeah, just unsung actors, and he just fucking crushed it. He was
I'm
creepy.
glad he's getting some.
He was scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like religious dogmatic villains are like some of the scariest villains to me. Like that's a personal thing.
Yeah, no, Ethan Hawke for sure was. And when I first saw him, I don't know if y'all ever watched a movie called Boyhood.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
That
that's the movie where like they filmed it over like 13
Yeah.
years, right?
Yeah, and it was in Houston, recorded in Houston and San Marcos, two cities I lived in. So yeah, like that's when I first heard. That's when I first saw Ethan Hawke. He's in that movie. He's like the stepdad, I think, dad or stepdad. I forget which role he was. That's when I first saw him, and I thought he was like such a good actor.
Oh,
From then
mine
on.
was training. Mine was Training Day for sure.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, but not to derail, but yeah, Ethan Hawke for sure, phenomenal job. Him and Oscar Isaac, like A1 performance with Moon Knight.
Like one thing I wanted to touch up about that is the directors over and over again said consistently like this isn't going to be connected. This is connected. This isn't going to be connected. This isn't going to be connected. Then our boys at New Rockstars were like, "Fuck you, yes they are," and there's straight up Kang the Conqueror Easter eggs in there.
References.
They mentioned the
subtle, but yeah,
ancestral plane from Black Panther.
yeah.
What was the? I'm sorry, not to make this a new Rockstars episode, but what did they say about Kang? I haven't watched the breakdown. I haven't watched all the breakdowns.
They referenced, and apparently the director confirmed, or somebody at Marvel confirmed that it was a. So first it was a jacket. One of the guys,
the kid who,
what is it, episode 3? Yeah, the kid that he had to kill. Like they was about to knock over the leads, but then someone took over.
Jake.
He had a reference to, I forget the name of the deity but it was a variant of King. And then at the end, the second half, what was this other one? Z, remind me. I don't remember the second reference. There was
there's a QR code in the hallway of the mental institution that you could scan with your phone and does a direct reference to Kang the Conqueror comic.
Yeah, it goes to a comic to when Moon Knight fought Kang.
Mm-hmm. Little break in the fourth wall, but
yeah. No, they had a bunch of those QR codes. Like they had a bunch of them throughout the whole series.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I guess I'm not a big Marvel fan.
No, you're not.
I'm just an Eric Voss fan.
Still hasn't responded to my emails yet, but
we'll have him on here one day.
That's gonna be the new meme. Is I'm just gonna keep saying it over and over again, and maybe eventually it'll just become a meme, and then we can get him on.
him and Bill Delphine on the same episode, dude.
Oh my god, what an episode that would be.
Now, what I really in speaking of, is it connected? Is it not? That's one thing I really loved about the show, and I think that's why it stood out to me over some of the other Disney Plus shows, because it did do its own thing, and it wasn't trying to build upon the MCU story or the current arcs or phase. Like it was a good standalone story about this character, and that was refreshing to see, because everything else just felt like was like filler episodes in our overarching Marvel phase, right?
I'm personally happy just to see just different representation of different cultures. The director of who, if I don't know the director's name, I didn't properly research it, I apologize, but he basically shat on Wonder Woman 1984 by saying that Egypt looked nothing like Egypt at all, and so it was very important to him to represent Egypt in a proper way. And then left field, we get Scarlet Scarab, and now they even dropped the line like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she's like, "Fuck yeah!"
The director is Mohammed Diab, by the way.
Mohammed Diab.
He is Egyptian, right? He is Egyptian himself, or not? Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying seeing that kind of representation it's not just yes, I'm part of the woke army, deal with it, but it's really cool because now, to segue into Multiverse of Madness, we have America Chavez's character, who's not only Hispanic, she's also lesbian. She doesn't say she's lesbian.
LGBTQ. She's LGBTQ.
Sure. Well, it doesn't. Does it directly state it in Multiverse of Madness?
They don't say it.
Remember that.
Her
parents were.
Her parents were.
Yeah,
but is that represent? But was that representative to her parents or to her character? Is the thing.
Apparently, it was to her character, because that is what is. I mean, that's what Eric Voss said. He said that is the first Latino superhero and first LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, which is great. That's great.
Yeah, so that's two. It's two representations in one, which is really good. We're really good. So they can stop saying the Bad Bunny's going to be the first Latino superhero.
Yeah. I thought Howard the Duck was LGBTQ, so that was me.
That's our first furry.
That's the first furry. That's the first furry.
we had Fastos in.
Fastos is.
That's true.
He is yeah, that's true.
That's true. Very God, true. I gotta watch Eternals again.
Yeah, same. I watched it in theaters and it was like, I kind of came out a little bit on the side of it, but I should just watch it again. It's on Disney Plus. Why not?
I like the world building and the setup of it. You know, it
Yeah.
was I like the it was cool to see the Celestials, but this isn't about the Eternals.
What is this about?
Uh, this this episode is about Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, so we'll try not to veer too much. Usually when we veer off topic, it's into Marvel, and now we're doing a Marvel episode, so there's no telling what we'll veer off into, right?
Yeah,
Right.
we already
Uh,
derailed. We already derailed a bunch of times.
into other Marvel.
Yeah. Now we're just confused.
But do you guys anything else you wanted to say about Moon Knight? I mean, obviously it's a great show. Hopefully everyone's watched it by now. But
Oscar
No,
Isaac.
I think I think I just want to say like and touch up on or reiterate what you said. I'll re-bring it up that I look forward to the Marvel shows to see how they tie into the overarching story that's going on. This one didn't do shit for that, but it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing. Like I said, like you said, it was a really good standalone story with little tie-ins, and it could have been its own show. That you could have told me that it wasn't a Marvel show, and it still would have been a good show.
So when do you think we'll see him again?
The rumor is that he's gonna come out again when he comes for not the Midnight Suns, but there's another team that he's in. It might be the Midnight Suns.
It's the Midnight Suns, I believe.
It is.
I believe.
I know he's in that one. I know he's in that one, but there's another one. I forgot what it was called. But that's supposedly when we're gonna see him again.
Gotcha.
With Blade and Kit Harington's Black Knight.
I'm excited for that too. Like the big thing I wanted to say about Moon Knight though is Oscar Isaac is just a phenomenal fucking actor.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he is.
Yeah. That was...
It's I was never bored of watching his performance.
I knew he was a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen him in other work, but this time it was just...
Yeah, and I think he totally got shit on in Star Wars. Like I think they just totally like blackballed his character, along with a lot of other characters, right? But
yeah.
And then we've seen him in a few other things, but he was amazing in Dune.
He was in Dune.
Yeah, solid. Like, man, it made me like, man, I wish my dad looked at me like that.
God, man, I wish my dad looked like Oscar Isaac. I think
I developed daddy issues from that movie.
I think I'm gonna go talk to my therapist.
It's kind of how we talked, or it's kind of how they talked about, once again getting off script, but also split personalities. How James McAvoy did in Split. Like he just put on such an amazing performance, switching between these different characters, these different personalities, and that's kind of what Oscar Isaac did here. Just him switching seamlessly back and forth between Mark and Steven,
and Jake,
like no effort. Yeah. But like when they're like walking in the hallway of like the hospital.
Dude, yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, it's like you were seeing two different people, like completely different people. It's amazing. Yeah,
and that's I mean Zeke speaks to this better than I can, but I mean that's the sign of like a really talented actor, right? Like
he sold two roles. Yeah, for sure.
Two roles at the same time, dialogue by yourself with yourself. I've never had to do anything like that in film. At all. And granted, a lot of actors, especially acting with against CGI characters and everything, they're acting against a tennis ball. I get it. But when you are like, it's so discombobulating when you're delivering your line, and I know this because this is how I memorize lines: is I record my scene partner's lines onto an audio tape, and then I run lines with myself, and it's weird. It's weird to do that. So I can only imagine a full production where you are two characters, three actually, and then your interaction with other characters to get into the mode of Steven and then to Mark Spector. It's just impressive as fuck. And Daddy Isaac,
yep,
you're my dad now.
Yeah, for sure. We're all in agreement that Oscar Isaac just knocked it out of the park.
So they're obviously seeing the realization that their Disney Plus shows have a lot of potential, and you can tell that they're putting more and more into them with every one that comes out. Moving into the key topic of our show today, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It was very nice to finally see some Disney Plus stuff actually get brought up.
I know
in the overarching film.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was our first go, right? Was this our first movie that?
Kind of that wasn't like a out there one like Eternals or Shang-Chi or whatever, right? Because like there wasn't really a place to tie those in. This was, and well, I guess No Way Home, but that was still kind of a Sony thing, and they had a lot going on there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was really cool about that, but I think we actually have officially ran into our first, like, Marvel's kind of running into a bit of a problem though, because when I actually convinced my entire company to go see Doctor Strange, and then I could see the problems that Marvel's running into because immediately my DMs at work filled with, uh, what should I watch? I don't. What do I like? People have to catch up
Yeah.
on shit now, and they like
Mm-hmm.
have to watch specific things. Like because you'll make an
Mm,
Avenger movie, like you kind of get the gist. It's like yeah, they're a
Yeah.
team now. I don't need to see all the movies, but with this, there's actual like plot points you have to pay attention to.
yeah.
I went back and watched Infinity War because they reference Infinity War
Yeah.
a bunch of times. So it's like,
Yeah, no, I as we walked into the movie, Shannon came with me, and I told her, I was like, "Oh shit, you haven't seen WandaVision? You haven't seen Loki? You haven't seen No Way
Ooh.
Home yet?" I was like, "It's gonna be a rough movie for you." So like during the trailers before the movie, I was like trying to recap to her like all the plot points that had happened in all these shows and movies and stuff.
oh God.
Yeah, you know what? I never even thought about that, Z. But yeah, that is a problem for them, huh? Like
Yeah.
new people, if they want to bring in new people, it's tough
Yeah. Like
to watch all those movies.
I didn't think about it
And
until I
shows.
started getting DMs. It was just like, holy
Yeah, no,
shit.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think about it until you said it just now. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Because now, like, it's one thing to guys like us, and geeks and everything. Like, we don't, that's not applicable to us because, of course, we've seen it all. But like normals, it's,
Yeah,
they're not like, this is definitely like a Marvel movie for the Marvel watchers, not for like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's not just a standalone. Yeah,
and,
like it's
and
like yeah.
I mean, we think this one was bad. No Way Home.
Oh,
Not only did you need to know all the MCU stuff, you needed to know other Marvel content from before, and this one too, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
With
yeah.
the with their little cameos. But hey, before we dive too deep into the multiverse of madness,
Uh,
let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
Totally real.
totally real.
Do you wake up every day and say to yourself, what am I doing? What if I were to tell you that somewhere in some universe there's a version of you that is you, but better? You know the multiverse? Well, it exists, and ours is the worst. Magic doesn't exist here. We have no superheroes. Oscar Isaac is not your dad. Our billionaires use their money to shoot dick rockets into space rather than serving justice to thugs in Gotham. So come on down and try your dream walking experience now. Go and visit a universe where you're actually successful, where your parents love you, or a universe where you have real friends. Or visit the universe where Oscar Isaac is your dad to see who you could have been and should have been. Dreamwalking is totally safe and has only destroyed a handful of multiverses in the process. Don't worry, we got you covered. All destroyed universes are disposed of properly. Professor Weird's Dreamwalking of Weirdness can be found in any multiverse. Call toll free at 616-555-5555 or 838-555-5555 or 832-555-5555 or 19999555555 or 610-555555 or
Hey, you. Welcome back.
Amazon has taken a lot of my money. Sorry. Damn it, Bezos.
You telling me you accidentally ordered 10 Ryan Reynolds cardboard cutouts? No, thank you to our wonderful sponsors for this week's episode. I heard they have a really good product. I'm excited to use it myself if they send me a free one.
I personally want Oscar Isaac to be my dad, so
I
I
personally
want him
want
to
a
be your
dad.
dad too.
I know.
I personally want a dad.
No, wait, you what? What are you
I'm just
talking
kidding.
about?
I'm kidding. I just had to
That's
make
when
it more
that's when
depressing.
his dad like peeks in the frame behind.
Oh, what's up, man?
What you need, son?
Hi, I was just asking about you.
Hey, you finally got back from the gas
Getting
station
milk.
getting your
Getting milk.
cigarettes.
I thought you forgot about me all those 10 years.
Oh man.
All right, so Multiverse of Madness, man.
I don't have daddy
Good
issues,
movie.
y'all. I actually do have a dad. FYI, to whoever's listening, it was a joke.
That's me. That's me that has the daddy issues.
I actually do. I mean, anyways, yeah, Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of dadness. Let's go.
Multiverse of Madness.
Hey, Doctor Strange was kind of a dad in the movie in this one, right?
Yeah, for the second movie in a row. Speaking of which, this is my hot take for the episode.
Oh, uh-huh.
I think Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was a better movie than No Way Home.
Whoa!
Wow.
Whoa!
Wow.
All
I
right.
did.
Hot take.
I still stand by, and this is going to get me a lot of flack, but I still stand by Spider-Man No Way Home for its majority of its runtime is just a big nostalgia bomb, which I loved. I still love the movie. I think it's a great movie. I think the majority of that movie was just a giant nostalgia bomb just to make all of us that grew up with it just like, oh, yeah. And in the last 30 minutes was where they really built his character. Like where he really had that dynamic change to make him Spider-Man, right? It might not even be the last 30. It might be like the last 10, but
you're not wrong. Multiverse of Madness was a really good, or is a really good movie. And No Way Home, yes. While personally I still love it more, but yeah, it is because of the nostalgia fact to it and the fan service that came with it. So that's so it's a little biased, a lot biased.
I mean,
however, Multiverse of Madness it's just a really good movie. But sorry, what were you gonna say?
Just to make sure that we're keeping ourselves honest here, the Illuminati, their literal dramatic function in the movie was to make us go, "Oh,
yeah, okay, that's true."
And then,
true, yeah.
Biggest spoiler of them all, by the way, guys. They have exited the match. So
they came and they left. They were
no, and I can't believe I'm actually about to do this. I'm gonna make a DC reference on our Marvel episode. It was like the Suicide Squad. Like we saw them go in at the beginning of the movie, and then they all just got like obliterated, and like it was like everyone wanted to see, and they just got killed off. Exactly how it was.
The minute I saw
Nathan Fillion dirty.
The minute I saw Black Bolt's head explode,
the
minute I saw his head explode, I was like, they're gonna do this to all of them. They fucked us. They like the minute
I did too.
On the second, I'm like, oh my god, they're dead. They're all dead. They fucked us. I see what you did, Feige. I see what you did, and well played.
I don't like it, but I respect it.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I just imagine Kevin Feige was like, okay, I want to introduce these characters, just to give that fan service, but I don't need them to stick around. Let me call James Gunn. Let me see how he'd handle it.
So that raises the bigger question, right? Like, are they gonna be around longer than this movie?
God, I hope so. I love John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and that's all I want. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I think they're the keystone of Marvel, and I'm upset it's taken this long to get them in the MCU. And I think he plays the part very well.
I think he plays the part very, very well. I still don't think he looks the part. I'm just saying this to reaffirm what I've said on a previous episode. Just to reaffirm, I think, but the thing is when he showed up out of nowhere, because I wasn't expecting it personally.
I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't either.
Yeah.
I hoped for it, but I wasn't.
I actually yelled whenever I saw it. I was like, "Yo, no in the movie.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I was probably the only one that yelled.
Oh yeah, and like I loved how they had
everybody in my theater was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Oh, no, I was
yeah.
like,
So,
whoa.
however, he does portray. I can see him being Reed Richards. It's just not the way I thought a Reed Richards would look. But his uniform looked fucking fantastic. No pun intended. And the way he poured it in from like some portal tech out of nowhere.
He just stretched out. Oh yeah, he just
Yeah.
like stretched into to the chair.
Like, so yes, John Krasinski, I respect you as Reed Richards and I accept you as Reed Richards. However, you got to change your look. Something about your face.
I will deal with it because
really good.
No, I will deal with it because I am of the same opinion. A lot of people fan casted him. He came out in a meme one and everybody just kind of ran with it. I didn't think he was gonna be actually casted at him. I personally didn't want him to be. Not to say I'm against the decision, but I wasn't for it initially. However, I do like him, so we'll see. I'm just gonna have to deal with it, or I'm gonna learn to love him. I assume.
One thing I told Jay last night, I didn't realize this at the time because I never watched the FX Eternal series. But that Black Bolt, the guy who played him, is the guy who played him in the FX series. And I didn't realize that.
Inhumans, ABC.
Oh, Inhumans. Sorry, God, not Eternal.
That show was awful. Don't watch it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I watched it. I did it for you guys, and I'm gonna just tell you guys, don't watch it. It's awful. But yeah, I didn't know that it was. I didn't know that it was the same actor either, and I thought that was really cool. So,
but we are getting the Inhumans in MCU. Is it a Disney Plus show or a movie? Do you guys remember?
The Inhumans? We don't have anything for Inhumans coming.
Really?
There was a movie coming in, but it became a TV show that was awful. Don't watch it again.
Yeah. I thought it was on the roadmap. I guess I don't
think
again,
so.
I'm not a good Marvel fan.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
One thing I kind of wanted to kind of open to, and real quick, Ryan, you do love John, like, because I think you wanted to say something about John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic because you were like all about it.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was just saying I was stoked about it. I think he's a great actor. I love him in everything. He was great in whatever that Tom Clancy show is.
I love him. I just it's me nitpicking at that point. So I think he's gonna do great. And I say that because I honestly think he is coming back. Because like you said at the beginning of the episode, John Watts is like fuck off and left. And
yeah, that's the point we were gonna bring back up. Yeah. So John Watts did leave, and supposedly the rumor is John Krasinski wants that role as actor director for that movie.
Did you guys see the Quiet Place movies?
I didn't watch those.
I love those movies. They're fantastic. Fantastic. And he directed those, and they did a great job. I mean, it's all cut very well. I mean, it's really good. Really good movies. So I'd be excited to see what he does. He'd be new to the superhero genre or like that kind of stuff, but
I mean, he did Jack Ryan, didn't he? He's done.
Yeah,
he was the actor in it. Yeah, he was the actor in it, but I don't think he directed.
No, he didn't direct. He was the actor. So he can be an action guy.
But he's amazing in Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
I think he was in that one show
military
about,
show guy, but he's great.
I think he was in that one show about working in a paper company. I forget the name of it though. He was a salesman for a paper company. That's right, The Office.
But sorry, I didn't mean to make it a John Krasinski episode.
No, you're good. It was a big reveal. It was a big.
Yeah, no, that was my big reveal of that was like, what the fuck?
I do think he'll be back. I do not think Professor X will be back.
I think that was
that's kind of sad. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, because we have I mean, there was a lot of returning actors, right? With one being well, actually, all those were returning actors essentially. Besides the new one, Haley Atwell, this Captain Carter, that was fucking cool.
That was really cool.
She looked great. She looked great.
Yeah, and Maria Rambeau, I don't remember the actress's name, but she came back as she reprised her role as Maria Rambeau, and then that universe as Captain Marvel. Black Bolt also reprised his role unexpectedly. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to do that, right? Marvel could just be like, no, we want a new Black Bolt, but they decided to keep their same one. That's really, really cool. That's just like attention.
And it was kind of redeeming for him too, after being on a shitty TV show. Allegedly.
I mean, he had a nasty death.
Yeah,
we talked about those deaths.
It was like him and Mr. Fantastic. But I, if you don't mind, Ryan, I'd like to kind of pivot towards one thing on the conversation.
Yeah.
So Sam Raimi directed this film. there is a lot of Sam Raimi in this movie. There's a lot.
Every little out of place cheesy thing, I just like looked over at my friend I was with and I was like, "Yeah, that's Sam Raimi."
Yeah. It was so Evil Dead. It was the first Marvel horror film that we've ever had. I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
it was
No, it is. Yeah.
like when she crawled out of the gong, I was like, well, that's Sam Raimi. And when and they did the throw with the Bruce Campbell cameo, they did the throwback of his hand, you know, where he threw the
Yeah.
curse on him and everything, and it was just the style, because Sam Raimi has like this awesome campiness about him when he directs films, but it's also like uncomfortable campiness. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind
No,
of
I agree.
yeah, it's like, oh, but that was awesome kind of a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I just had to I love that shit because that's the kind of nostalgia feel that I really like, is not necessarily like super on the nose, like, hey, we did the something of the scientist myself meme, you know, like,
Yeah.
which was awesome still, but like the fact that like the nostalgia came through his directing style and his cinematography style, you know, that's why I was like, oh, this is great. So I had to say that at least.
Yeah. No, and there was a few parts of the movie, like I said, like some of those just kind of out of place, like campy funny stuff that just was like, know if like I would have made that creative decision to put that in this rather serious scene, but I mean, it didn't take away from the movie for me. It
No.
didn't take anything away. But I was definitely like, oh yeah, Sam Raimi directed it. Like every time it happened.
Did either one of you guys want to try one of those pizza balls that Bruce Campbell was selling?
Yes.
It
Yes,
looked
I want to try
super
one.
greasy, but I would eat one.
I really saw one of those, and I must have been like very hungry or had the munchies because I was just like, oh my god, that looks
I mean,
delicious.
I've had pizza rolls before, so it's kind of the same thing, right?
Just look good. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, with this hangover that I have, it sounds delicious.
Man,
But
like
yeah,
I walking into that movie, I knew Wanda was. I pretty much knew Wanda was like going to be the main antagonist of the film. I did not expect as much carnage from her. I did not
her
expect her to
body
kill
count,
so many fucking
the
people in
body
this
count she
movie.
got, she racked up in this movie. Oh my god, she was out for blood, and she got it.
Oh my god, it was actually
murdered the whole Illuminati.
It was
I love
almost.
Elizabeth Olsen.
I love like, and the thing is, I loved her character arc through it, and to see. It's kind of interesting because I think we saw a little bit of a character kind of like becoming an antagonist in Civil War with Iron Man and everything.
Yeah,
But this was the stakes were just at a whole different level, and her character arc going from this person who's trying to figure out herself and not hurt other people to now she's unwilling. She doesn't give a shit about who she kills or hurts. And then
Yeah.
it wraps that character arc up by America Chavez.
Uh-huh.
yep.
Yeah,
America
her
Chavez.
character showing her alternate reality kids of what a monster she is and what she's become was just like it for me. It was a heart-wrenching moment. It was just like,
Yeah,
you know, the last thing anybody wants to see is their loved ones to see them doing something they don't want to do, and that they don't want, that they shouldn't be doing, and it on that scale, like that moment hit me incredibly hard. um and
yeah,
yeah, like it was just great character. I felt like they did it in
yeah.
a very tasteful way. So
Yeah, we saw it build up in WandaVision, and then like you said, this kind of built upon that, and then wrapped up. But it was really like that gory and then that tragedy of motherhood, right? And it was cool to see that portrayed. Like we've been talking a lot about how it's really neat to see stuff like mental illnesses and stuff being like brought to the big screen in a way that kind of opens people's eyes to things. But I think this was this was kind of a PTSD thing too for her with losing her kids and Vision.
yeah,
And her brother.
I was hoping to know something more about Vision
I know.
in this movie.
White
and I can't
Vision.
believe
Yeah, because we
didn't
left
see
off with White Vision, right? At the
Yeah.
end of WandaVision. Yeah, he didn't come back.
She had that line, that really just powerful line where she said, I had to blow my love, like the man I love's head off, and it meant nothing.
It meant nothing. Yeah.
And then only to have him get put back together and then die again. And it's just like, savage, man.
What was that? What was that line? Who was it? The one that told like, "You made your kids out of magic." She's like, "Don't all mothers do? Don't all mothers make kids out of magic?"
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even like. Obviously, I knew that habit, but I never considered. I never
The
considered
emotional
that
toll.
aspect of the whole Vision scenario. Right,
Yeah.
that was like the hardest thing she's ever had to do in her life, and then it was
literally meant
like she
nothing,
said,
like
it
she
was for
said.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a toll. That's an emotional toll that like you had to summon the energy, willpower to do that, and then for it to be like nothing insignificant.
I'm obsessed with like the concept of like looking at an individual like in the real world or anybody and just be like, what has led up to this, to you
Right.
as you are now. So I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff, and I love to hear stories like that. And I think Wanda is and I've read a few things where people complain, it's like that's a total 180 for a character. I'm like, look at the trauma she's been through her life. Like, if you've even gone through a fraction of that trauma, of course you're going to do some shitty things, you know?
Yeah.
It's like...
And especially after being corrupted by the Darkhold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like taking it to the 9. That's like going... It's like they turned her into Majin... That's like, basically, to give context, that's like Majin Vegeta. You know, it just makes you... Or the serum. Like, I don't know. It's... Shut up, Zach. Edit that out. I don't give a shit. Fuck off. I don't care.
And then, and this is another reason I really wish they wouldn't have killed off Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, because I think he would have been very relevant, right? I think he would have been a good foil for her character.
I'm surprised they didn't do anything with it, to be honest with you. I was waiting
and then
for
they brought him back. And then they brought him back, the X-Men one in WandaVision, just for him to be a boner joke.
Yeah. Which they're getting fucking sassy with this shit, like with the speculation of us of guys like us and everything. Like, they're getting sassy with it. Like,
they're doing it on purpose. They're out to get us.
Editing Thor's eye in Love and Thunder, changing from the Hulk to the Hulk Buster. Now putting a fucking legitimate boner joke, hyping us up for the Illuminati, and
then killing them all.
Like, it's like they're getting salty, and I can see the passive aggressiveness coming from Marvel right now. I'm no stranger to passive aggressiveness, Feige. Like, I see what you're doing.
You're just gonna bring me Patrick Stewart, Professor Xavier, and
then snap his neck.
I'll add him.
That's how cool, man.
All right, Feige, you're on the list.
Man.
Wow.
What else? After credits, man. What do you think about the after credits scene of Multiverse of Madness?
We get Clea.
I knew nothing of her before.
I wasn't super familiar with her.
I knew who Clea was as a character. I haven't read as many Doctor Strange comics as I'd like to. I actually might have to take a trip to the comic shop I live next to and just binge on some things. But I knew of Clea. But when I first saw her, my first instinct is I thought she was Psylocke. You know?
Yeah,
just because the purple and everything, and but then I reconfirmed, and I missed it in the theater because I took a piss. I'm like, oh yeah, it won't happen until after the credits. I come back and Christina is just like, oh, you missed it, huh? And I'm like, and then nobody of my coworkers would tell me what happened, so I had to go home and YouTube it, totally legally. I found that. Fuck it, edited this out. Just kidding. I found it.
Sure, man.
Thanks, Jurgen. I found it and I saw it. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
So she said you caused an incursion. Can we assume at this point an incursion is similar to a Nexus event, or are these two separate things?
That's what Eric Voss says.
An incursion.
I haven't watched this video yet. So
an incursion is when two universes collide.
Yeah, so that's what the incursion implies, apparently, or that the universes are colliding, which brings us to the Secret Wars arc.
I don't think they're gonna like do the whole battle world thing.
I don't either.
I think I always
unless it's like a what if thing.
I always thought like Doctor Doom making his own place to be like, this is Gladiator World was kind of stupid. But I do think like if they do like an incursion movie, it's going to be multiverse. We're going to get like another Civil War-esque thing, but with variants. I think
Didn't
Yeah.
we? This is, I don't know if this is related or not, but this reminded me of it. Ryan and I were talking a little before recording yesterday that this movie, I thought, or we both thought that it was going to be a big Marvel event. Like this is, but it wasn't. It really wasn't like a big, like, it wasn't the Civil War to this phase of Marvel that we're going through, because
Yeah.
Civil War was a big event.
Loki was a
it-
bigger event than this.
yeah,
Mhm.
and you know what? Okay, that's probably one of my nitpicks about this movie is that Kevin Feige himself said that the events of Loki are what unravel or
Triggered
what
everything.
triggered everything in Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, but there was not a single reference to it, and that bothers me. That's
Okay.
why one of, if I have nitpicks about the movie, but that's one of them. That if it's really that
Yeah.
big of an event, why didn't they explore? Not even like a lot, right? Like they could have just said something happened in the whatever, the He Who Remains, something happened that triggered this, or just, or them at least wondering what happened, but there was not a single reference to it. So
The
But I
only
don't think they know.
yeah, the
I mean,
only
that could be the
people
case, but
the only people who know what happened, and so in canon, and this is speculation on my part, Jay, so like I could be 100% wrong. The only people who knew about what happened is Loki and Sylvie.
yeah.
Now from a production behind the scenes standpoint, maybe they're being incredibly vague about it so they don't pigeonhole themselves into anything or like
Yeah.
write themselves into any corners. Maybe they're being vague about it, much like how we try not to date our episodes in a way. Maybe they're trying to very I think they're being like I assume that's what's happening, but I could be wrong is what I'm saying.
Right.
So
Okay.
Yeah. I still think Doctor Strange thinks he's caused a lot of this by his events in um, No Way Home. If he what he remembers of it, I mean, he obviously remembers some of it because he even mentioned it in this movie. He was like, there was just a strange incident with Spider-Man.
He remembers
Talking
Spider-Man, but
about the
he doesn't
multiverse.
remember Peter
He's
Parker.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he thinks he has something to do with all this multiverse stuff happening, especially because you got Mordo and the Illuminati and everybody else
Yeah.
telling him that he's the problem. But it is strange to me. You'd think the Illuminati would know a little bit more about
They seem
what's
so
going on.
they seem so insignificant in this movie.
Yeah,
Like Z said, they just kind of introduced them, hyped us up about it, and they're like, "Nope, they're nothing." Bye.
but there's potentially infinite Illuminatis, right?
True.
Yeah.
So 616 has a plot armor, not 833 or whatever that universe was.
838. Yeah.
838. Yeah, they don't have the plot armor.
um the I made this comment because I've said this in a previous episode too. I do think they have systems and plans for all of this because the scope is just getting so big. But leaving the theater, I said to like Christine and my buddy Pete, who I was walking with, is like, remember back in the day where it was just, a guy makes an iron suit in a cave with a box of scraps.
Box of scrap.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
God, those were the good days, weren't they?
Yep. It all just seems so insignificant
I
now.
know.
But that's always been the arc of comic books, right? And it's like the stronger our heroes get, more strong their enemies get, and that makes the heroes get stronger, and that makes the enemies. So to eventually, we're gonna see them fighting one of the fucking Eternals or some or
Celestials.
Celestials.
We saw the Living Tribunal in one shot. So
yeah,
he exists. The Living Tribunal exists in the MCU.
when do you guys think we're gonna see Kang again? Besides Quantumania, that's the obvious one. But do y'all think
I
we're gonna
was
see him before that?
God, I was praying that he would come in somewhere in this
Me
movie,
too.
even if it was like a post credits thing, and I
Yeah.
was so disappointed.
I
'Cause
honestly think
haven't,
we're going to
like-
see him in Love and Thunder.
You think so?
hmm
Wow.
I honestly think
could-
I think he's going to have something to do
Makes
with
sense.
the Greek gods being present as well as the Midgard gods. I think I think it's going to be a pocket universe situation. So
I'm trying to think, and I think and I'm just not thinking about this. I didn't think about this before, because Thanos was the first big bad, right? From
Yeah.
from the first. but we didn't really know about Thanos until the
Well,
first
Loki,
Avengers.
but yeah.
No, but like like big MCU villain, like
The
overarching villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, overarching villain. But we didn't know about him
Oh, yeah.
until the first Avengers movie, right? On the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
That's when we didn't know anything about. So I'm trying to think, like, when would they show? They already showed him just in Loki.
Yeah.
But they showed probably the nicest variant of Kang.
I would hang out with that Kang, actually.
Yeah, right.
Cool Kang.
Cool Kang.
And we haven't heard. Have we heard the term variant used at all? Was after Loki? Or no?
Yeah.
Did they say it in Multiverse of Madness? I don't remember.
Oh, they haven't said variant. I don't remember there being a word variant in.
Like, they haven't used that word,
I don't think
right?
so.
That's interesting that they've not used the word.
We have to make a cool Kang shirt now.
Like
Cool Kang.
Cool King.
Hey, he invites you in, get you a Capri Sun from the mini fridge, and then you watch some TV. Cool King.
When are we releasing our merch, by the way?
Oh
man,
don't hold us accountable on an episode.
Oh no, I am. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now.
Then you're making it.
I was gonna say I'll work on making it this week, and then by the time the next episode comes out, we'll have some previews for you. Not physically, but
I'm
digitally.
on it. I'll try to figure out how to do them.
Yeah, let's get together and make some merch. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
As far as when we'll see Kang next, I hope Z's right. I hope we do see him in Love and Thunder, but if not, probably Quantumania. I mean, definitely.
He's definitely coming out there. Like, it's been confirmed, but
maybe Moon Knight season 2.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool to explore the overarching villain again, but I don't know, man. I want some news on the overarching story, and like, I feel like we've been teased about it here and there, but we don't know what they're gonna expect.
Exactly.
There's just so many potential big bads at this point, just because we got so many stories now, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I hope Kang becomes the main big bad.
I think he is
and he's not just like it worries me that he was introduced in a Disney Plus show. is the only reason I'm not like 100% like, oh, he's definitely the next big bad, right?
Yeah.
I hope they don't make him a throwaway. I want him. Honestly, if it was anybody else playing Kang, I'd be like, whatever they do with him. But I just want more Jonathan Majors.
Him or Dr. Doom. I mean, they're already bringing him. Right? Dr. Doom would be up.
God. Doom is gonna be great, dude.
I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what they're gonna do with Doom.
You know who I want as a big bad? Especially since they're going to be introducing this Fantastic Four, as the Maker, which is basically evil Reed Richards. I would love to see that guy, like a really, like, especially if we're going to be throwing in variants, like an evil, like maybe in the Fantastic Four it is an evil version of Reed Richards. So
probably Secret Wars, like with the Incursion, when you got two universes, because that's in the comics, one of my favorite arcs. When the universes are colliding, they're both trying to figure out how to destroy the other universe, so that theirs survives, and it is like they're fighting themselves. And the one that's colliding with them is like they're a little more deadly, or they're a little less good guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that'd be a cool outside the norm of evil bad guy. Like, it'd be cool to see that kind of happen on screen. So.
Once again, kind of like when we get talking about Star Wars, we get talking about anything. Like, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours and hours. But overall, I think Multiverse of Madness was a great film.
Yeah.
Like Jay said earlier, I wish it would have built things up a little bit more for this phase. But I'm happy with what I got.
Me too.
And it's definitely one of my favorites this phase so far.
Yeah, I think that's more of a fan demand versus a. Versus
get it together, fight. You're doing this for us.
That's just me being an angry fan, not getting not getting what I expected, but that's my own fault.
Well, you guys got any final thoughts about Moon Knight or Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, or this phase of Marvel, or anything like that?
Sad that we have no Marvel for a month or two.
We get Kenobi,
I'll say we got Kenobi, which we will be talking about that, I'm sure. But my final thoughts are: look, it's a fucking great time to be a fucking geek right now, and the movies are amazing. I know I've like poked fun of like the scope of everything and how like it is getting kind of ridiculous, and I do miss when it was a bit grounded. But that being said, it's freaking awesome that like seeing the whole shot where that like which probably took an entire editing team 6 months to make, where they're slamming through all the multiverses and everything. Like that stuff is so cool, and the fact that we get to see this not come to life from the page, we're lucky. We're freaking lucky to be who we are. And so great job.
Yeah.
Great job, Feige. Great job, cast and crew and everybody involved, especially the crew who made it happen. So
I think, definitely. I can't imagine how many people are involved in making these things. I do think that they kind of understand that things are getting way out there, and they are trying to bring it back home a little bit. We're gonna get more stuff. Hopefully, like some more Daredevil. I think She-Hulk will be pretty grounded. And then I think Miss Marvel will be somewhat grounded, because I think it's going to be more like high school drama type stuff with her.
I don't know what they're gonna do with her because she's technically an Inhuman. But I don't know if they're gonna.
Mist.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're gonna do. Then it doesn't look like they're gonna go that route with it. But we do have Inhumans introduced into the MCU thanks to Black Bolt. So we had a lot of things introduced in this movie.
Yeah.
Inhumans, mutants,
and I am going to say this,
and the Richards.
We started with the multiverse. Who's to say 10 years down the line that Disney's going to own absolutely everything, and then we're going to get the Omniverse, where next thing you know, we're going to have Dragon Ball Z characters showing up in the
MCU. Hey, I'm still hoping for the Marvel DC crossover. If that could happen on film, that would be fucking cool.
I'm sure Warner Brothers is a little too salty for that.
Oh, yeah, that sounds expensive.
They can't get their shit right.
Feels bad, man. Hey, but the Batman was
unless Disney buys them.
Just buy them, Disney. Unless Disney buy them. But don't buy Nintendo. Stay away from Nintendo.
Yeah,
Disney.
Don't buy Nintendo, Disney. Leave them alone.
Yeah, leave them alone.
Man, like you said, Z, I'm excited. You got so much cool stuff. But we're gonna come back next week. What are we talking about next week? You guys know?
I know we're getting Daryl, but that's not for another in 2 weeks.
We're gonna do another urban legend next week. So hang on to your hats. We're gonna do a fun one for you. It'll be something nerdy related. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you then. And then the following week, if all goes as planned, we're gonna have a guest on, talk a little bit about psychology,
some mental health. Some video games.
What's like? We're not being secretive about.
Oh, I don't know. I already said his name. We're bringing in Daryl from Daryl Talks Games. Tell me I've heard of him.
Daryl, famous YouTuber. Daryl Talks Games. Yeah,
we got the plug.
Gonna go hang. He's gonna slum it with us plebs.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really good episode, y'all. He's very.
I'm excited for that episode.
He's knowledgeable on his field, so also has a psychology degree.
They just give them out like candy these days.
I mean, essentially, yeah. not that difficult to get one.
All right. Everybody. Well, have a good evening, everybody, or good day. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. Hit us up with any of your theories about where the MCU is going next, or what you liked or disliked about Doctor Strange or Moon Knight or anything like that. And make sure to tune in this week.
I was going to say,
we're going to be doing we're going to be doing our live Lego night this Thursday. That is the 12th. That is the 12th. We'll be doing that around 8:30 Central. And we're just going to build some Legos and talk and hang out. And, we'll probably end up talking more about Multiverse of Madness, crazy stuff like that. So come hang out with us. Join our Patreon, or if you'd like a link to our Discord, just hit us up and you're more than welcome to come join.
I'll be happy to ignore your request.
Yeah. Just hit us up on Twitter or something. Yeah. Our Twitter info is now below us, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
yep.
wow.
You get all of our handles are right here for us individually. But yeah, hit us up. And that's the end of the episode. It's over.
It's over.
Go home. Go.
Go
What are you
home.
doing here? What are you doing here? Go home. Get out.